Hello guys, welcome back to the vlog. So today we're going to do something a little bit different than our usual, making recipes and stuff like that. In a couple of previous videos, I've shown you guys how to, when you go to the grocery store and you buy those family packs of meat, how you break them down to vacuum seal them. I've also shown you how to take, your pound of bacon and vacuum seal it to portion it out. So along that same vein today, we are going to do another form of food preservation, but this is in the form of stocking your dry goods. Myself is I will buy the 5-pound bags of rice. I buy them from Walmart. The parboiled rice is my particular favorite. Whichever you buy, that's on you. So I buy the 5-pound bag, and how I break that down for myself to use is I break it down into your short-term and your long-term pantry. Your short-term pantry is going to be stuff that you use within the next 6 months to a year. Your long-term pantry is what you're going to use, I'd say pace it out to like maybe a year and a half, 2 years, etc. So what I'm going to show you here is what you can use for, well, short term and long term, but this is more for short term. So like as I'm rotating my pasta and my rice out, I store it in mason jars. And how I do that is I use the wide mouth mason jars. It's just a personal preference of mine. So I'll fill it up to the rim there. I'll label it so I'll know, the date that I did it and what it is, because in this state, it's kind of hard to tell the white rice from the brown rice a little bit. So if you're reaching in the pantry, the label will help you figure out what you're reaching for. I also take a little cupcake liner like this and sit it on the top, right? Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an oxygen absorber. And I bought these off of Amazon. I keep them in a jar, and airtight jar, so that you can preserve them, because you're losing on the benefit if you don't do that otherwise. So I have one. I thought I had one that was already open. Doesn't look like it. All right. So for the sake of this video, I am going to open a new pack and I'll show you. All right, so I cut it, put in the oxygen absorber. This is what I like to do. I like to fold it just to protect it, because you don't want it touching your food. And then I put the lid on, and I'll show you how I seal it. I vacuum seal it. This vacuum sealer has a setting for the regular mouth and the wide mouth. So I put it on my jar, since this is a wide mouth lid. Push start on it, and then you can see it's counting. And what it's doing is it's taking all the oxygen out of it. So that preserves it. So I can keep this in my pantry indefinitely for, like I said, 6 months to a year before I need to use it. You honestly, I think, can keep this up to a couple of years this way. But this is just the best to do to preserve your grains and to keep it prepared for short term, whatever comes up within the course of the year. So this is not just for rice. This is for flour, sugar, any pastas, oats, grits. You can use it for all of that, the same preservation method. I would caution you, though, if you were putting sugar in here, to not use oxygen absorbers. When you put sugar in here to preserve, and that's in anything, it forms like the oxygen removed from it forms it into like a really tight rock. Like when you have your brown sugar, if you don't keep it in an airtight thing, it gets hard. Same thing for sugar. You want to preserve it where you seal it up, but you don't want to put an oxygen absorber in it. It'll just make it really rock hard. All right, so we're coming up to 95 seconds. I just give it to 100 and then I turn it off. Unlike canning, you can put the rings back on. So I just put my rings on it. It is good to go. All right, so I have both of these sealed and ready to go in my pantry. The beautiful thing about this is once you empty it out, you can refill it and vacuum seal it and do it all over again. So it's just a revolving thing with these jars to keep your rice grains in, which is wonderful. Now, here's a thing. Here's a fun fact. Not only can you vacuum seal your pasta, I'm going to show you a trick. Now, these mason jars I'm keeping in the refrigerator. These berries have been in this jar over 2 weeks. What I do is I put a napkin down on the bottom. I put the berries in there and then I vacuum seal it. No oxygen absorber, just vacuum seal it. And it's preserving the berries. So I'm able to use them in the morning on my yogurt parfaits. Isn't that fun? Isn't that interesting? So I'll show you how I do it. Have a jar opener sitting on the rim. There we go. And look at that. Over 2 weeks. They look just the same as these blueberries I just bought in this container. So what I'm going to do is add these blueberries to this jar to, because I was eating them pretty quickly and I needed some more. So I'm just going to add them to the jar. And I wash them before I put them in my smoothie bowl. But I just put them in here unwashed in the jar. Again, got that napkin at the bottom, and the vacuum seal takes out the air. So it preserves and doesn't leave any moisture in the jar for the berries. So that's a way that's, short term that it's a hack that you're able to preserve your berries a little bit longer, when you are making your breakfast in whatever shape or form that is. And yeah, I just thought that was a helpful thing to show you guys. So now I take the blueberries, put the lid on them. We'll put the piece back on. And I'll have this on my Amazon storefront. You guys can get one of those as well as the other vacuum sealer. I'm telling you, they make up for their money so fast. And you're preserving your stuff way longer. Like you're not out buying, your berries every week. Next thing I'm going to show you guys, I'll move this off to the side and let it do that, is Mylar bags. Now, Mylar bags is another form of food preservation. These can be used for your grains, your flour, your sugar. So what this is a bag that you can put your stuff in. You measure it out. They have them in different sizes. You can essentially put like a 5-pound bag's worth of flour, sugar, rice, what have you, in here. And then there's no light that gets to it. You seal it up. Oh, you put your oxygen absorber in for the flour and grains. You seal it up. And then this is protected for 25 years. This is protected for 25 years. This is like what we're talking about, long-term storage. This is long-term storage. Now, I wouldn't advise you using these bags if all you're going to do is, let me turn this off. If all you're going to do is use it within the next couple of months. That's not what this is for. This is for if you're trying to beat costs on recession, tariffs, what have you. You can buy this stuff now, preserve it in these bags, put it in a container that will preserve it from, pests of any kind, and keep it in those 5-gallon totes. You can get it at Home Depot. You can get them cheap at some wholesale like Costco and stuff like that. They have the food grade buckets. But you put it in here, you seal it up. Now, if you buy like the 25-pound bags of flour or rice, they have bags that are big enough for that are even bigger than this. This is just 1 gallon. So you can get it bigger to accommodate that, and you can put it in the bucket, and then you have it for your family to use for the future. Because we don't know what the end of this year is going to look like. We don't know what next year is going to look like. You know what I mean? So this is basically for forward thinking. This is for, preparing for future use. So you'll have it. Like, you might feel like now, you're good to buy maybe 5-10 pound bags, and you want to do the mason jar thing. But, looking forward, because we don't know what could happen, you'll have an insurance policy for your family to be able to use in the event of anything that happens. And also, you can use it next year. You can use it in the future for times that you can't go to the grocery store. Like I said, we don't know what happens in the future. We can't predict everything. Job loss, anything that could happen, health, anything could happen. This is an insurance policy to kind of prepare yourself and have a peace of mind. So what we're going to do with this is I'm going to show you how to store your rice in these Mylar. These Mylar bags come with their own oxygen absorbers, but I do have this pack open, so for the sake of this, I'm just going to show you mine. So what we'll do is we'll take this bag. I have here a scale that's set to pounds. Now I'm just going to open up this bag here. Let me get my scissors. Easier for me to manage pouring. I'm going to see if I can fit this whole 5-pound bag into this Mylar. All right, so let's see here. We have this says 3.45 right here in this bag. So that's not even all the way filled. You see that? Like, we still have some space in here. So I believe this 1 gallon bag could fit the whole 5-pound bag. Again, it blocks the light and it preserves the rice. I'm pretty impressed with that one. I know people have asked questions about, like, if you have any like little, how do you know if there's any critters that are in the packaging? When you seal this up, yeah, it's a 5-pound. Okay, so when you seal this up and you put that oxygen absorber in there, anything that's in there isn't going to stay alive. Okay, that's about the best answer I can give you for that. It's not going to stay alive. So I am going to throw in these oxygen absorbers, and then I'm going to seal it like so. And look at that. You have a 5-pound bag of rice in here. Just like that, just like so. Now, for longer term storage, you want to give it a heat seal, kind of like what I did with the vacuum seal bags for my meats. You can get a heat sealer, or you can use a flat iron, just like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to press it And it's sealed up just that fast. Look at that, you guys. So now I can put on here with a marker. And it can go in my pantry. And this is preserved and good for 25 years. So that's the gist of this video. I just wanted to show you that. Again, you can use it for flour. You can use it for sugar. You can use it for other grains. But this is just another way to have an insurance policy on your food and to be able to cost control your food. You can buy things at today's prices, so you can be eating at today's prices 25 years from now. So I hope you learned something from this video. If you have any questions below, please don't hesitate to let me know. And I will talk to you guys again soon. Take care, friends.